I'm Kate. So, hello everybody. Okay, so we're going to run through teaching in France today. And we'll also have Becky on, who works with us, who's actually taught and lived in France as well, to give us a bit of a personal story on how it worked for her. I'm going to run through things in general first, and then I'm going to, at the end of the session, go through our upcoming position and new program job in France. Okay. Um, We'll do as usual. If there's any questions throughout the session, please write them into the chat box. And if I see them, I will get to them. But if not, and there's not time in the end, of course, I will get to all your questions if you send us an email tomorrow and things like that. So don't worry too much if everything isn't covered. Just give us a bell tomorrow and we can run through anything with you. But please feel free to kind of write as we go. Okay. Okay, I'm going to get started here, and it's lovely to see we have 66 people on today. That's great. So hello everybody and welcome. Um, okay, so let's start, I suppose, with France and teaching in France. I assume that most of you here are looking to work in France or might be thinking about moving to France with a TEFL certificate. So a few things you might be asking yourself: are you eligible to teach in France, and what's kind of required of you? So the first thing I will say, because of the location in Europe and the close English-speaking countries and the non-English-speaking countries in Europe, a level 5 TEFL is mostly required for teaching in France. It just really kind of maximizes your chances of employment with the level 5. So I'm not sure what courses people are on and things like that. Now, that's not saying the 120 or the lower level wouldn't get you a job, but just from experience, I've noticed that a level 5, obviously, it's much easier to secure work. Normally, I will go on to discuss the position, but normally a degree, obviously, as well is preferred, but not always necessary, which is great news. And experience. Again, it's something that's preferred, but not always necessary, and everybody has to start somewhere. So the good news is there isn't too much kind of restrictions or limitations on teaching in France, which is fantastic. The next thing I want to go through with France is I'm talking. Yeah, I'll pass you on to Becky in just a moment. Okay, so finding work in France. I know a lot of you have some job websites. I don't know where you've searched before, but one of my favorite ones, um, I don't always recommend actually with the TEFL industry to actually go through job websites all the time because it can be quite difficult. And the thing is with TEFL, a lot of people don't know is that most language schools all over the world have constant turnover of teachers. Okay, so they're even if they're not advertising it, more than likely they're looking for kind of TEFL teachers on the go. And that's why people think there's not that many jobs out there when there are lots. And they're always going because, as you could imagine, TEFL is an industry where people are kind of hopping to country, or maybe 1 year contract here, 1 year contract there. So schools are always looking for teachers, which is great news. The normal job websites, I know a lot of you have them already, but Dave's ESL Cafe is a great one, or ESL Jobs. That's another one that you could look for recruitment in France. But the one way that I would kind of suggest teaching in France, which I have found most successful and what our past student alumni have found most successful, is if you have a destination in mind, so say you know you want to go to Paris, or you know you want to go to Cannes, or you want to go to Nice, south, north, the best way of finding a job is searching for the town that you know you want to go to. So I'm going to take just Paris, for example, because it's easiest, or Cannes. And in Cannes, actually, and in Nice, that's where Becky was based. So that's why I'm using that example. If you type very simply into Google, private English language schools in, so in Nice, in Cannes, in Marseille, wherever, Bordeaux, wherever you are, private language schools in this district, okay? You're going to get a directory of schools that come up. So you might have 10, 11. In Paris, you would probably have maybe, I don't know, 20, 25 language schools. But I can guarantee you that in every corner of the country, in every little town of the country, there will be a language school. So there's nowhere that's kind of out of bounds. And if you're anywhere that's kind of a bit more remote, you know, your nearest city isn't going to be too far away, or your nearest town is not going to be too far away. So that's the next thing I would do, is get the list of language schools so you can get a directory of them. And then I would go through them. It's a bit tedious, but definitely worth it. The method is proven and tried and tested by myself in numerous countries. So it definitely works. And what I would do is I would go through each school. I would go and find the HR manager or the director of studies. Don't be sending it out robotically, you know, to whom it may concern, to a million schools. They know you do that. They know of 100 teachers who do that. So by finding the director of studies or the HR manager, you know, it just looks that bit more personal, that bit more kind of enthusiastic, and you'll stand out that bit more. So find who the director of studies is, or the HR manager if that's not possible, and just let them know that you're looking for work. We do have a webinar coming up on writing, about the perfect TEFL interview, and that will cover writing cover letters and CVs for the TEFL industry as well. So if you're somebody who's going to be in the future actively looking for jobs in certain countries, then definitely attend that webinar, because there is a bit of a different way of writing a normal CV and a TEFL CV, or a normal CV and a TEFL, cover letter. There's just a few little tweaks that you might find interesting, and we do have great blogs on that too. Okay, so you found the director of studies on the website. You send the CV and the cover letter. Try and make it a bit personal in terms of, if you know um, the language school, you know, do a bit of homework, check what the language school focuses on. Like, for example, is it just a general English school, or does it cover exams? Does it cover business? Does it cover afternoon activities? Because then when you write the cover letter, you can say, I'm applying for a role as a TEFL tutor. I'm fully qualified to teach IELTS and the TOEIC exams as well, and put that in your cover letter. Because by you going onto their page, looking at the exams, and you having that qualification, it does really help that you've kind of pointed that out. So definitely do your bit of homework and see what they cover in their school, because some schools will just be general English and some will be more specialized. For example, there's a big business school in Europe, and it's called Berlitz. Maybe some of you have heard it before. It's big in Germany, but it's also in France. So if you apply to Berlitz in France, you want to be tailoring your cover letter or your email to business. You know, I have a business English cert as well. So just be careful about which one you're writing to and what they kind of offer. Sandrine, does a level 5 diploma need to be certified by the French education authorities? No, it doesn't. Can it be considered as a license? Yeah, so it doesn't need to be certified by the French authorities. It is internationally recognized. You're very welcome. Okay, so after that, then that's the way I would go, and, you know, send your CV letter and cover letter to all these schools. Eventually you will get one back, even though they say they're not hiring, they are. And another little tip as well is always say that you're either in France already, or that, you know, your flight is booked. Don't be writing a cover letter or applying to these French schools to say, you know, I might come if the job is offered. Tell a little white lie and just be like, yeah, I'm booked, I'm moving to France, or I'm already in France, because you just seem a bit more, they'll hire you if you know you're kind of that bit more easy to just kind of come on board that quickly. So that's the little thing that I always do and has worked for me in the past. I'll either say that I'm, you know, I have a flight booked out on this date, and I'm going regardless if you take me on or not, or say that you're already there in some way. Yeah, so they're the tips. That's what I would do when searching for work in general in France. Um, yeah, and that's what I really, that does work. I've done it before now. I've taught in Spain, Turkey, Germany, Italy, and I've actually never taught in France, unfortunately, but that could definitely change in the future. But I'm going to pass you on now to Becky, who has taught in France and did live in France. So whenever you're ready, Becky, take it away.
Thank you. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. My name is Becky, for any of you who don't know me. I am the recruitment manager and the partnership specialist here at the Tepe Institute. So in 2019, I did go to France for about a year, and it was absolutely lovely. COVID hit, and I did come back at that stage. On personal reasons, just to come back, and I have been back with the company since. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about, I suppose, stuff that you can't find on Google. So I didn't really want to cover all the stuff that you can basically find, and all the stuff in the blogs and stuff like that on our website. I just wanted to cover a little bit about some personal things that I found, some hints and tips for when you move over to France. I think the first thing to mention is that France it's the nearest non-native English speaking country to us. It is so accessible. It is, so close to home. If you're on here and you are from Ireland or the UK, we are really close to it. I actually booked the ferry and drove over. I wanted to bring my car over. Very, very easy to do. I brought my dog over. I packed the boot and I went. So it's very easy. The motorways are good, all that. You can also fly over, and renting a car for the day is quite easy as well, and the transport is absolutely amazing. The public transport, especially the TGV in Paris and everything like that. I myself was down the south of France, so beautiful, gorgeous, sunny, by the sea, Mediterranean. Oh my God. Coffees, espressos, it was just really, really lovely way of life. What was lovely is I actually got paid into my Irish bank account. I didn't need to set up anything over there. I didn't need to do any visas because I'm within the EU. So it's a really, really nice option in comparison to, say, going to Asia or just, outside of Europe or anything like that. Yeah, so that was really nice. Some people, it's quite easier than here as well to get accommodation. So there's a lot of rentals over here, over in France, in Ireland and in other countries, especially, built up countries. It's quite hard to find rented accommodation, and you feel like you need to prepare beforehand. I myself actually didn't prepare accommodation beforehand. I got an Airbnb for 2 weeks and I found something quite straight away. They're all very, France can be very relaxed, very, very kind of last minute, which is I completely got used to. It took me a little while to get the relax, but once you absolutely get into it, it's really, really nice kind of atmosphere to be around. The degrees, now I do myself have a bachelor's degree, but if you don't have a bachelor's degree, as Kate said, some schools prefer it, but because you do not need it for the visa, it's not a visa requirement. So if you don't have a degree and your passport is in Ireland, so you're within the EU, and it's not a visa requirement, then if they do say that a degree is required, I would actually just say just apply for it anyway.
Yeah.
It's a little bit, high risk, but why not? Yeah, so Also, a little bit about just school life before I give you back to Kate. Um, the the primary schools actually on a Wednesday have a day off, so that's lovely. I did a couple of online teaching on that day with a company just to kind of make up the hours. There's also private lessons that you can do on the Wednesday as well. Um, with most contracts, and actually with our program, you can work, so sometimes you can't work extra hours outside of your contract around the world. Sometimes they put that clause in that, you know, you just have to work the hours and have one job on your visa and stuff like that. But, you know, in France, you can do as many hours as you want. So you can work in a cafe in on the Saturday, or do some private lessons on the Wednesday. As I said, I did some online teaching on the Wednesday. High school, I didn't teach the secondary level or high school students, but I think they have a half day on Wednesday, so it goes from 4 days to 4.5 days in school. So they will kind of be the hours that you would be doing. The the children and the school life is very similar to Ireland. You know, it's westernized, so yeah, it's really nice. The children are lovely. It's nice to have a little bit of French as well, just because France is actually, you know, one of the highest countries where they don't have English as the second language. So the majority of the population actually don't speak English. So it is really nice to have those few basic phrases. I did Duolingo for about 3 months before I left, just to get those couple of phrases. My principal actually knew how to speak English, so that was good, but not all of them do. So just those little bit of phrases, I would definitely say would help. Um, yeah, so I think that's about it. It's a really nice country, lovely and sunny. I worked down the south. I know Paris is a little bit more expensive. Um, so if you are looking to kind of save a little bit, maybe the south might be better. It's just that little bit cheaper. But I mean, you know, moving to Paris, you would get a lot of perks there too. Disneyland, Eiffel Tower, all that. So yeah, kind of the choice would be yours, how far away you want to go from Paris, but it does get more expensive as you go. So that's definitely another choice to kind of make. I chose the Mediterranean. That's just my preferability. Um, yeah, I just have one question here before I go off and give it back to Kate. So I was in a mainstream public school where they have um, English teachers coming in. So you would actually be in with local teachers that teach math and everything like that. Um, Sometimes you might teaching English through sport and kind of collaborating with another teacher, that kind of a thing. But I was the head teacher for that hour to teach English, and they went back to maths and stuff like that afterwards. Yeah, so that is me. And if you do have any questions or anything like that, my email is up there. You can just let me know, no problem. Yeah, thank you very much for listening.
Okay, I'm just going to touch quickly on the cost of living. I don't know if anybody knows this website, but it's a very handy resource to have if you're kind of choosing which location to go in France or you're not really too sure. It's called numbeo.com. I just put it into the chat there. And basically, numbeo.com, all you have to do is type in Bordeaux, Paris, and it'll give you the cost of all little things like transport, one bedroom apartment, a pint of milk, cinema, and it'll compare in every city around the world. Super, super, um, super, super handy. So Sandrine, I'm just going to put Becky's, you can email recruitment@tefl.ie is the one she is on. And I'm also going to put in here, guys, quickly, if anybody's looking to find a job independently and not through us, that's a nice little website there, eslbase.com, and then that link there, /schools /France. So I'll just put that there for you, and I'll get to those questions in the end. I'm just going to quickly move on because I'm just really conscious of time today. And just a couple of tips, guys. Again, as I said, if you are looking to go independently, just a few things for you to do, or a few tips. As I said, when searching for work, do what I said at the start, look for the directory of schools in the town or the city you want to go to. Another quick tip would be, when you're traveling, have your resume or CV actually translated into French. I know that sounds a bit strange, but it's something that they do kind of ask for sometimes. They say, do you have a French version? So it's just nice to have in case you're there in the spot and you need it. So just something to think about. I would also, if you're there, kind of, there's a massive, 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 as Becky said, demand for private lessons and tutoring. And just so you know yourself, if that's a route that you go down, the normal kind of normal amount of money is about 15 to 20 a session in France. That's the norm. Obviously, you can go higher than that, and obviously you can go lower than that. But just to let you know, that is the norm. Okay. Another big thing as well, guys, think local things. If you arrive there and you're in like an Airbnb looking for work, advertise your services, make business cards, put notice boards, bulletin boards around major universities, things like that. Start marketing yourself as a private tutor immediately. Why not? And that option will always be there for you in the evening as well. And business English as well, guys, in France is big. So if you're somebody with a business English course, mention that in your cover letter, because it is a quite big thing in France, and there's a lot of work for business English ESL teachers in France. If you're somebody who's just looking for a summer opportunity, there's a lot of summer camp kind of options if you want to go down that route for 2, 3, maybe 5, 6 weeks. But if you're looking for more permanent, there are a lot of business contracts as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk through the position that we have on offer, the job, the program that we are offering at the moment. So if you want to sign off, feel free to do so if you're not interested in listening to the program with us. I'm just kind of going to run through what's eligible and the positions that we have coming up. Okay. Okay, let's start. I'm just going to open up the position here for you. Okay, brilliant. And thank you to anybody who's signing off now and wants to kind of just go independently. Thank you very much. Okay, and for everybody else, we'll just run through. So guys, we have a lovely French job position coming up, which we are super excited about. The first thing we want to say, I suppose, it is kind of for first-time teachers. And actually, I haven't asked in here, can anybody let me know if they're looking to go to France, they are going to France? Just put it into the chat box. Like, for example, if you've already decided you're going, if it's in your head that you might be going, if there's an opportunity. Are people, what are people's thoughts about France? I would like to know. Then let me know. But with our position anyway, with our France placement program, it is kind of geared towards first-time teachers, but they will also accept people with experience, of course, and you can get paid that small bit more if you have experience or in the classroom. Okay, so the first thing I want to tell you is that you will need to have to commit to 9 months. Okay, the contract, it's a full year school contract, and it begins in September and it concludes in June. Okay, the requirements for this particular position is that you have to be a native English speaker, but you can also be a non-native speaker but have a C2 English level. Okay, so a very proficient level will do also. The TEFL course, if you don't already have one, the training is actually included in this position, okay? So not to worry if you don't have one yet. it is included in this package, in this program. Okay. um the great news about this position is that you actually don't need a degree, which is fantastic. So that gives everybody without a degree a chance as well, which is amazing. Experience in teaching, guys, it's not necessary. It's definitely preferred, but if you have any experience like in coaching or leadership, it doesn't have to necessarily be TEFL or teaching English. It's a plus, but it's not everything. They basically just want, you be able, that you're not going to enter a classroom and be completely freaked out by the kids. It is a young learners program, so it's about 4 to 12, kind of primary school age. um so I suppose that's what they're looking for. They want you to be able to go into a class and not be completely freaked out by being the teacher. You know what I mean? That's all that is. A basic knowledge of the French language is desired. Okay. Now, don't freak out. We don't have to all go start learning French all of a sudden during the summer. Absolutely not. This is just something that, and when we were speaking with our partners the other day, actually, if you have no level of English or French, that's absolutely fine. You can spend the summer before September just getting to learn the basic French language or basic French phrases on Duolingo or some kind of a free app like that. And this is only for to be able to communicate maybe with principal or a parent if there was an emergency. That's all. You're not expected to be able to talk about current affairs in French at all. And we do actually, as part of this package as well, we do have a welcome pack included, which will kind of give you some basic French phrases or what you should kind of be looking at learning before you go. But again, nothing too extensive, so don't be freaked out by that. Um, we do want teachers for this job role, guys, really passionate about teaching, fun, dynamic, enthusiastic is the number one word here. That's the number one thing in a classroom. Even if you're not, say, an excellent teacher, if you come across and can build a great relationship with your students, literally half the battle. So that's all we're looking for: upbeat people who are excited about the role and excited about moving to France and things like that. Of course, we have to have a clean criminal record, that goes without saying, I suppose, in many jobs, and no serious health conditions as well. Okay. That's one of the requirements. So if you fit those, or you feel like you are good for that requirements, then definitely stay listening. So what's included in this program? So your monthly salary will be anywhere from 1,200 to about 1,400. That depends on qualifications and experience. Um, as I said, if you don't have a TEFL course already, you will get full TEFL training as part of this package, and you'll get like lesson planning guides for young learners that will help you in the preparation for your role. Um, you will also, of course, get a reference kind of teaching completion certificate at the end of the role. So when you go on to future jobs, that will help you in kind of down the line when you're applying to kind of other jobs, or if you continue to stay. Um, Accommodation assistance is there. But as Becky said, there are plenty of options. And what we do as part of the TEFL Institute is actually, there will be for all the teachers going at around just before the position starts in September. In August, we will have like a Zoom session, or it's like a welcome and orientation pre-departure Zoom call with all the teachers who are involved. And we will get to meet each other. Everybody knows everybody. We all join a WhatsApp group, a Facebook group. And at this stage of your journey, you'll know where you're teaching. So you can kind of talk with other people and say, look, what about, both of us living in this town, that type of thing. So if you are interested in maybe living with somebody or something like that, that option is there. And of course, we're there to fully support you pre-departure. And of course, when you arrive, our partners will be there for support as well. Yeah, there will be teacher supplies and curriculum and aid and all that kind of supplied to you throughout the year. So that's another big benefit of kind of going with us, is that, in other jobs you might be, I don't want to say thrown into the deep end, but you're not going to get the organizational curriculum support that you would in with an internship type program. Becky kind of covered it, but you will be issued a CDD contract, which just means that, you know, it's a permanent contract for the year and things like that, which is great because they can be quite difficult to get. Um, if a train is needed or something, or if you need some transport to get to your school from where you have decided to live, um, your fee, half of your work transportation is actually subsidized by the school, which is lovely. But normally people actually live quite close to the schools. It's never that you're too far away. And with actually finding the location of the school, um, as Becky said, they kind of have schools closer to Paris up the north, and then they have schools closer to the south. You can choose where you want to go. It works on a first come, first serve basis. So whatever schools are full first. So I would always state a second preference, just in case you don't get your first. But if you apply early enough, like if you apply at this stage, you more than likely will get your preference. But just be aware, check out that cost of living website, numbeo.com, and look at the difference between Paris and kind of the south. And weigh up which one you would like to go to and things like that. But we have locations in Paris, Versailles, and Sandrine, please excuse my pronunciation, Marseille, Nice, and places like this. Okay. So as I said, you can state your preferred location when signing up, but just keep in mind that it is subject to availability. Okay. Um, that's what's included in the program. And the application process, basically, I'm going to run through that quickly as well. So the sign up fee, including all those elements, and including the training, everything like that, it's 599. Okay. And that's everything included. From the pre-organized departure to your job being set up and your job and your contract and things like that. Now, we are unfortunately only have limited availability this year, just due to, you know, naturally everything that's going on and things like that. So there are actually only 10 positions available. So I know that it's not a lot, and it does work on a first come, first serve basis. But that position is, those 10 positions are for September. Um, they are open. We are opening them after this webinar today, which is great news. But they do work on a first come, first serve basis. And for the month, everybody here on this webinar, I just want to put in, we have a promo code just for people who have been interested. I know people have been emailing with months, and so excited. So I'm just going to put in here, for those first 10 positions, is an early bird discount for €100. So it's going to be $499 for everything there. So I'm sorry to kind of rush through that job really quickly. But I wanted to leave a small bit of time for questions. And I am just going to run through a small bit of the teaching of what's involved and the teaching experience. So in this job role, you'll be teaching mostly pre-primary and primary students for about 15 to 20 hours per week. And classes can range from about 25 to 35 students. There are also Wednesday classes. It is normally a school day off, so you can choose to have that day off, or you can take up extra classes privately to kind of supplement your income. Another great thing about this contract and this job role is that a lot of schools legally don't allow you to maybe teach online or do private lessons, but they are more than happy for you to kind of do your own thing in the evenings, at the weekends, if you're looking to kind of get that bit more money. So you'll have like adult and teen education might be available in your area in evenings or weekends if you feel like that as well. That's, I think, what I kind of wanted to say, what I wanted to say to you. If there is anybody really interested in these 10 positions, I'd appreciate if you kind of just left your email address there for me, so I can contact you tomorrow to get your application in, or to look at your application seriously. There's a question there. Is it the same price if you've already completed the 240-hour TEFL course, or is there a different course you could choose from instead of the 120-hour course already included? Yeah, seriously. So what we can do, there will be fees discounted because you already have the training done, and we can look at, I'm not sure the 240. I'm not sure if that's the level 5 one you've done or the professional one, but you will need to have the young learners covered as well. So that's great. Anybody have any kind of other questions about that position? I will be sending everybody the professional one, lovely. I will be sending everybody an email after this webinar about that position. Um, and just one thing, I don't think I mentioned. Let me go down here. Um, I don't know if the age is to anyone from 21 upwards. So I'm not sure if there's anyone younger on here today, but it is 21 plus. So if you're under that, then unfortunately you can't apply to this role. Um, but you could maybe try applying independently. Um, so great. I have a couple of people on there. That's great. Um, so as I said, it does work on a first come, first served basis. So I can see those emails coming up there, and I will give every one of those emails a buzz or a call tomorrow. Or you can just email me as well, just to and let me know that you want the call to kind of go through. That's my personal email. So if you are looking at applying in the next few days, then definitely give me an email tomorrow. So I hope no one's too freaked about the basic level of French as well. I just want to kind of run through that again, even though it says you need it. I wouldn't, if you have absolutely no French, please don't let that be a barrier to your application. It's just more of a, um, they wanted to be able to, in case of she was talking to us today, and she said just in case there was an emergency in the school that you could be able, people were in panic, that you could be able to communicate. Okay, it's just basic level, and I think a lot of people before they go away do have that kind of basic level. And as I said, apps like Duolingo and everything are really, really good to help you. And I suppose what I do want to say as well is that we've had our internships open up, and I know people are a bit hesitant to kind of get moving forward with COVID and things like that. And people say, should I book? Will I book? What's the point if it doesn't work out? All these type of thoughts. But what I will let you know is that we've opened up a couple of our internships and jobs, and we've successfully sent students over on our placement programs, even in the midst of COVID. So please don't let that as well be a hindrance. Obviously, these things are out of our control, and I can't guarantee that everything's going to run smoothly for you. But what I will say is that most of our partners who we've been speaking to are learning to live with COVID, and there's none of this, we're closing now, that's it. It's more like, how are we going to get around this, and how are we going to put things in place to actually go through with the job, because they need teachers. They need them. It's not like it's just fun, it is essential for them. So yeah, if anybody's kind of feeling a bit anxious about that type of thing, and just for example, on our Instagram as well, we had a girl go to Thailand recently, and she's talking about her quarantine experience and things like that. And that's another issue, actually, the quarantine. At the moment, people are required to quarantine, but it would just be in your accommodation. So say you booked your accommodation in an Airbnb or wherever you booked it, or in your rental accommodation. And our partners and ourselves will help you with the accommodation as well. And don't worry about that. They just have to stay in their apartment for a week or 2 weeks, depending on what it will be. Like September, I'm hoping that there mightn't even be, or it might be significantly shortened by the time September comes around, please God. And it would just be a case of staying arriving a bit earlier, and just kind of isolating in your apartment while you're there. So that's another thing. I just don't want people to be thinking that these things, I know everything's going through our heads, but we are looking and very optimistic about people going off, and we've sent people recently as well. Any other questions there that I missed? Is it possible to apply for these positions as a French native speaker? Yes, it is possible to apply. Okay, that's great. Let's see if there's anything else. Will there be a recording of the Zoom? Yes, there will be. It'll be available on Friday on our YouTube channel. We have all our kind of previous post webinars up there. It just takes time to edit them, but they will be up. Zoe, you're a qualified art teacher here, but only newly qualified. That's great. Like even having a teaching degree will really stand to you in terms of like, salary benefits and things like that, even though it's not English. It still goes down very well. Um, Ben, definitely going to France. Definitely, I love it. Yeah. And I suppose there's nothing like the French lifestyle. As you might have guessed, but me and Becky are actually sisters. We work together. Um, but I was numerous times in France visiting her, and it's a fantastic lifestyle. It really, really is. We don't realize how stressed we are here when you go somewhere like that, and um, it's the way we should all be living, really. To be honest with you, what would be the difference between applying independently and going with this internship? So, absolutely nothing. You can go off and apply yourself. It's just that with if you apply with the internship with us, it's just the assistance you get, the job is set up for you. You have that pre-departure support. The accommodation is looked, we will help you finding the accommodation. You're kind of going with the community of people. That's the biggest difference. There's nothing stopping you, Zoe, going on to Dave's ESL cafe and booking a job and flying over yourself. It's just more of a kind of for first time teachers as well. With this internship, there's continual professional development throughout the year. There's curriculum assistance and you get that help. So it's nice to have that bit of backup, that support if it's the first time you're doing this. And as well, of course, all the training is included. So Zoe, if you are going to go independently, then just remember you have to obviously have your TEFL training done, your TEFL certificate done as well. So yeah, guys, I think that is it from me. I'm just going to take down a few of these emails while I'm here, just so I can get in touch with you tomorrow. And as I said, guys, coming up, let me tell you the date now, because I don't know it off the top of my head. We do have a webinar coming up about the perfect TEFL interview. But in that webinar, we'll also be looking at kind of writing CVs and writing cover letters for the TEFL industry. So that is definitely worth, if you're thinking about going applying independently to France, then that is a webinar that you should definitely attend. Let me try and find, okay, I can't find it here now quickly. I think it's in March, if I'm not mistaken, but it's on our website anyway, guys, on our homepage, the list of webinars that are there. So as I said, yeah, that's great. I'm going to, if anybody who kind of wants to apply for this position, the one I was talking about, please get in touch tomorrow. I'll take your emails down, but please ring me or email me tomorrow saying you're interested in applying, and we can, because there are only 10 spots and it works on first come, first served. So we're not expecting it to stay open that long. So if you're interested, just email, please. And as well as that, I will say, if you enjoyed the webinar, guys, please, we would love if you could leave us a review. We're really trying to get the word out there about the free webinars that we offer, especially during lockdown, because it's actually an initiative that we started last March. And we didn't think they'd actually be this successful. So thank you for everybody who has continued to come. I can see familiar faces, so that's really great. And it's just to kind of get people to have different options with the world the way it's going now, and kind of offer a bit of free information and informative information. We would love if you could leave us a review as well. And if you didn't enjoy the webinar, don't leave a review, please. Just say nothing. So yeah, that's it. So guys, thanks so much. And I'm sure some of you will be joining Jacob here at 6 o'clock as well. But that's great. So thank you. Have a lovely day, and any information or anything you need, guys, please feel free to get in touch. And we'll talk very soon. Thanks a million.